To Piers Morgan, the Osbournes have been Hollywood royalty for decades. Unlike the royal family, it hasn't stopped them voicing their opinions on them. Kelly took to a podcast recently to tell us exactly what she thought of Prince Harry.
I think Harry's a I do.
Look, I get it. Harry's a young bloke who's been through a lot. Losing his mum like that, tragic. No one should have to deal with that kind of pain, especially not so publicly. So, yeah, I feel for the guy. He's got a good heart, or at least he used to. But Meghan, that's a different story. Don't get me wrong, she's a smart woman, ambitious, knows what she wants. But somewhere along the line, it all went sideways. She came in like a whirlwind, turned everything upside down, and Harry right along with it. Now, I'm all for women standing their ground, but there's a way to do it. Meghan, she likes to play the victim, always got a complaint. And Harry, he's like a lost puppy dog, following her lead, barking at anyone who comes close. It's sad, really. Let's be honest, you don't sit down with Oprah, cameras rolling, spilling your guts about family drama, and then turn around and cry privacy. It just doesn't work that way. You can't have your royal cake and eat it too, love. And that Netflix show? Come on. They're practically begging for attention, airing their dirty laundry for the world to see. If you want privacy, you don't sign multi-million-dollar deals to talk about your life. It's hypocrisy, plain and simple. Look, I'm not saying they can't talk about their experiences, but there's a difference between speaking your truth and exploiting your family for profit. And let's not forget they're still cashing in on those royal titles. Privacy, please.
I think he's he's a whining, whinging, complaining, woe is me, I'm the only one that's ever had mental problems. Like, my life was so hard. Everybody's life is hard. Yeah, you were the prince of a goddamn country who dressed up as a Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope? Suck it. No.
Do you know what? I couldn't have put it quite like that, but I definitely share the sentiment. Sharon, when you heard Kelly
I
there...
certainly have a way with words.
Well, Sharon, you've been slightly more polite about them whilst making the same point.
It was all very distasteful, Piers. I was totally bored by the whining. And, you know, the curtsy, the thing she said about medieval times, her lunch with the Queen was like medieval times, which, as you know, is a Disney-type entertainment place for kids. And it's just so horribly disrespectful and just a wine fest.
So here we are. It's quite interesting what's happened to them, isn't it? Because I lost my job because of Meghan Markle over that Oprah interview. You, Sharon, then disgracefully lost yours on the talk because you basically said I was entitled to my opinion. Where are they now, these two? Because it seems to me that people have basically just got bored of them, which is the most lethal thing of all for any public figures.
Who's going to go first?
I'll go first. I just think the proof is in the pudding, in the sense you've been handed the world and every major contract, you had podcasts, you have all of this, and you didn't deliver because you...
There's nothing to deliver.
Yeah, because you don't have it. And that's okay. And I think they do have a right to privacy, but that doesn't seem to me what they're looking for.
And Ozzy, let me ask Ozzy, actually, about Sharon getting fired from the talk, because I felt so angry about that Sharon would be forced out of a job that she was brilliant, because she was the star of that show. What did you make of it?
I always said it was a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're looking for an excuse to get her out.
Well, yeah, and it was the time when, like, what better excuse to kick someone off a show than, you know, start making wild allegations of like racism, and it was like the fad of the moment to just, you know, burn someone down just to, you know, wave the woke flag, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was completely outrageous, actually. I mean, Ozzy, to hear people call Sharon a racist, knowing her as well as you do.
I
How
mean,
did you
the
feel
thing
about
was,
that?
when I first heard that she got, she's leaving the show, I said, well, Cheryl will stick up for her. She knows she's not a friend. And it was Cheryl that threw her under the bus.
She did.
Yeah.
She never said a word
I think
in
that's the
defense.
thing that was... No, and that was the thing that was so disappointing. It's like, you know, all these people that had worked with my mum for double-digit years, knew the whole family, knew everything. Not anyone came out and said, hey, actually, that's a pile of BS, and everyone just went with it because, for one, people couldn't defend my mum because if you do defend, everyone then jumps on you, and it was just nuts.
And you know, Sharon, the interesting thing, isn't it? If you go back to the start of it, I had to lose my job on Good Morning Britain here in the UK because I said I didn't believe a word Meghan Markle said. I wouldn't believe her if she wrote a weather report. Well, that's been completely vindicated by all the lies which have been exposed since, including stuff that was lied about in the Oprah interview. So actually, if you take that as the starting point, everything that followed was completely nuts.
It just insanity, and then it seemed, you know, that everybody was parted. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Oh, I'm for them, I'm against them. And it's like, you know, they were given far too much importance because what do they do?
Yeah.
Yes,
well, all
Harry's
they do,
done
actually.
wonderful things with the games. He has done an amazing job with the games.
Yeah, the Invictus Games is a very good thing. His service to his
incredible.
country was good. But the truth is, the only value they have to these corporations was to trash their families. All of them. And I just don't believe anyone
Well,
can...
I mean, just...
I mean, you guys are such an extraordinarily strong family unit through thick and thin. You always have been. It's one of the things I love about you most. When you see people who basically disown their entire families on both sides and then pretend they're happy, I don't see how people can be happy when they do that.
No.
No, and the thing is, I've said this so many times, Piers, they're fine, but their children don't have any family.
Yeah.
No grandparents, no aunts, no uncles, no cousins. There's nothing.
Nothing.
Their babies have their mum and dad, and that is what is so terribly sad.
Yeah.
And they know nothing of their heritage.
Where does this end, Sharon, for those two, do you think?
I said it in the beginning in tears. It's going to end very, very badly. And I don't know why. It just keeps taking me back to Edward and Mrs. Simpson.
Yeah.
It's like history repeating itself.
Yeah.
You know, and all of this, you know, cuddly, lovey, holding hands, going everywhere together. It's so disingenuous. It's like, come on. Give us a break from all of that.
Ozzy, having been through...
in love.
Well, I was going to talk to you, Ozzy, about love. Because you have one of the greatest marriages, for warts and all, good, bad and ugly. And you've had it all over the decades. But you have one of the greatest marriages I know, because it's actually based at its heart on true love. And for you, what is it about that woman on the end of that sofa right now that's kept you sitting there and so in love with her for so long?
I couldn't live without her. I've tried. I can't live without her.
And she'll strangle him if he leaves.
Besides, when I leave, I come back until my clothes are destroyed.
Stop it, Ozzy.
And Sharon, for you, what is the secret of longevity in a marriage, do you think?
You have to realise that you can't change anybody, and it's acceptance. And, of course, the bottom line is love, but you accept each other, you know, as you are. You can't change anybody.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break.
They have to change themselves.
Yeah, I think that's right. And you evolve as people, right? But I do think, when I look at the four of you sitting there, and I remember, I think about all the scrapes you've been through collectively, individually, whatever. It's great to see you guys sitting there as this fantastic family unit. You know, and all of you having come through difficult times.
At first, everyone here in the States was smitten with them. The runaway royals escaping the clutches of the big bad monarchy. But the shine's worn off, you know. Americans, we love an underdog, but we also value hard work and humility. And frankly, Harry and Meghan, they're starting to grate on people's nerves. It's always something, always a complaint. The constant negativity, the drama, it gets old after a while. People are starting to see through it. Even their business ventures are flopping. That Spotify deal going belly up. Not a good look. It's like they're losing their touch, their Midas touch turning to dust. The American dream might be turning into a nightmare for them. Honestly, who knows? They're a bit unpredictable, these two. Part of me thinks they'll keep chasing the spotlight, trying to stay relevant. More tell-alls, more reality shows, anything to keep the money rolling in. But there's another part of me, a smaller part, that hopes they'll find some peace, that they'll step back from the public eye, focus on their kids and try to rebuild their lives away from all the drama. Only time will tell, I suppose, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be an interesting ride. And you can bet I'll be watching, popcorn in hand, ready for the next chapter in the Harry and Meghan saga.